Welcome to the Sponsored Rider Club podcast, your guide to motorsports sponsorship. Here's your host, Josh Weesey.
It's supposed to be Thanos. I don't know if anybody got that, but welcome to this episode of the Sponsored Rider Club podcast live edition, which is powered by AMSOIL. Super excited about this one today. We have Shelby Anderson coming back on the show. Last time you saw Shelby was episode 20, and we're about ready to release, I think it's 106 or 107. 107 tomorrow. Woo! They're just flying by. So really glad to bring Shelby back. She's got a whole new experience to share with us. Last time she didn't work for Polaris. This time she does. So UTV, racing, family racing, and also marketing experience at Polaris. That's what we're going to talk about today. And look at this. We already got people joining. We got Steve Mueller on. We got Shelby's already on. I like it. We got Kevin Spangler. Welcome. My wife is watching. I like it. If everybody, I don't know if any of you saw my intro, but I had my Thanos glove. If you want to know anything about that, let me know. We can do a separate podcast on Infinity War. I'm kind of a superhero freak. I don't know if everybody knows that, but my hand's on fire now, so I'm going to toss these aside. Couple things before we get into the show. What's up, Jay? Welcome. I want to talk about a couple of things. AMSOIL is one. Specifically, I want to talk about their spot on the 509 Volume 13 video. They actually did this awesome mashup where they took Lincoln Lemieux on his race sled and Scott Douglas says, I think it was a Pro 2, I can't remember, Pro 2 or Pro 4 truck with ice studs in the tires, and they ripped it around a snowcross track. It was one of the coolest things I've seen. The whole video is pretty awesome, but that part really stood out to me. So it was a kind of a joint venture between 509 and AMSOIL. So I would highly recommend, if you don't already have the 509 Volume 13, go get it, because it's awesome. And definitely check out that scene. I think it's like midway through. So other things too. This specific episode is brought to you by GSP XTV Axles. If you want a set, I think, Spangler, you're running them still, right? If you want a set of these axles, go head over to talk to Bold Racing. Jimmy Moore there can hook you up. I also got their website pulled up here in the back, GSP XTV Axles. And Racing Addix as well. So I got their website pulled up, whole new spin on motorsport sponsorship. Jay Simmer has just joined. He's talking about it a little bit. We actually did a show just on that a few episodes ago if you want more information. Look, we got Jackie Sue joining us. Is Sunshine on too? Hopefully. Jackie Sue is one of the newest stars of the backcountry world. If you don't know Sunshine already, her daughter, you need to go check out Sunshine too. All right, well, what else? If you're on right now, I have a couple of things to cover with you. I would love it if you liked, you shared, you commented, you tagged your friends, you put emojis in, you did hashtag replay if you watch replay. I don't care. Fun stuff like that. We want to make this a good experience for you too. We are going to be asking and answering questions throughout the show, so just type them in. Oh wait, no, you guys do this, right? You're all huddled in front of your phone. Just do that. Type it in. We'll go through and try to answer them later as best as possible. And we did get confirmation Sunshine is here. Hello, Sunshine. Welcome to the show. All right, well, I think I'm going to bring Shelby on. What do y'all think about that? This is always the most stressful part, making sure it actually works right. Well, is it coming? Is it happening? I think it is. Adding. That's a good sign, folks. That is a very, very good sign. Who else is on? We already talked to Kevin. Yes, good. You're still running GSP Axles. Glad to hear it. Oh, look, hashtag live play. I like that. Hey! How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. And it worked. This is the most stressful part of the live shows is that there's like this little thing. I don't know if everybody can see it. It pops up in the middle of the screen. It's like adding.
Connecting. Yep.
Like,
that was me. I'm like, come on, Wi-Fi.
So one time it didn't work. Joey Sylvester was on, and he just couldn't get on. So I was like, okay, folks, we're going to turn it off and try again. And it worked. But yeah, so welcome.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be on. Learned a lot this summer. Lots has happened. So I'm excited to kind of share what happened this summer.
Yeah, it has been a long time since you've been on the show. Episode 20 seemed like forever ago.
Yeah, I looked
80.
actually the other day, and you're on like 100 and something, and I was like, geez, that was number 20. So it's definitely been over a year and a half. So I'm definitely excited to be back.
I only had 500,000 listeners then. Now we got like 5 million.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, you're here for a couple of reasons. One, you're pretty awesome. So that's step one. And two, you got all new experience to share. I think a lot of people know that Polaris has figured out a few things around marketing, right? They've got it figured out. They're doing some things right. And you've got to spend at least one summer there now, and you're still working there, right?
Yep, I'm still actually, they kept me on through Camp RZR until November now. So I'm still working with RZR marketing. So it's definitely an awesome experience. And it's crazy how much different kind of looking at the business aspect compared to just the racing aspect is. So yeah, it's been fun.
Especially being in a marketing team. I think that's got to highlight some of the way that the businesses think about influencers and racing and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy how much goes into it, and our RZR team's actually pretty small. There was only about 4 or 5 of us for the entire RZR marketing team, and it was partnerships, it was marketing specialists that go to photo shoots, it was event planners, it was the director, and then it was me, and I was just kind of helping out wherever I could. So it was kind of crazy to see how big RZR is as a brand and in that company, and see that it comes from this small team.
That was giving me my point. When she said 5 people, I was like, really? It seems like it's bigger. If you'd asked me just off the top how many people I think it is, I would have said 10 to 12.
And everybody at Polaris works together. It's just a huge joint effort. So, but for the sole RZR team, it's about 5 people, including myself. Yeah. So it was kind of crazy when I showed up there, and I was like, oh, this is all of us? All right. But it was really cool because all of us got to be really close. So it was a fun experience.
That's awesome. Well, I'm just going to see who else has joined him. Sean Spencer's on. Welcome. Let's see. Yeah, Steve Mueller, we need an East Coast Camp RZR again. I would like that. Michigan, you can all come to Michigan to hang out. That would be phenomenal. That's where all of the hardcore RZR riders ride, is in Michigan.
Yeah, that was actually one thing that was crazy. I've always seen the southwest side of RZR, and when I came, I started seeing people from the north and people from Florida and just people all over, everywhere. And it was crazy to see how the different styles are and how people even just mock up their cars, whether the bumpers or the cages or the tires or just anything. It was crazy to see like the people on the East Coast, how they do their RZRs, how they upgrade them. So it was cool to just kind of learn that, and also learn, there's width restrictions, and this unit won't sell in this area because somebody in Washington with all the trees probably isn't going to buy a Turbo S. And so even just learning like that business side of it was really cool, because I just was always on race cars. So it was really cool. Yeah.
No, that's wild. Looks like we got a few other people. Zach Seismic, welcome. Andrea Traskis, how's it going? So listen to this quick note. And the Heydays episode I just did, which was, I think it was 105 when I released it, my brother came on the show. And my brother used to race motocross when he was like 12 through 14. He had one sponsor, and it was Andrew's father, Brad. So that's pretty cool that she hopped on. Let's see, who else we got here? I thought I saw a shout out from, Ride the UP.
Right over here.
Oh, my brother's on right now. That's cool. Let's see, I thought I saw someone saying from like British Columbia joined as well. That. Nice. Well, one thing I kind of wanted to ask you about was the RZR build that you just did as part of this. Was it the Sandsport Super Show? I said that wrong.
Yeah, Sandsport Show.
Oh, yeah. You're that right. One. Tell us about that. Tell us about that RZR.
Oh, that was actually one of my biggest projects, was the Sand Show booth. And and the sand show builds. So I did the fully custom build, which they wanted me to do just because I was from the Southwest, and the Sand Sport Show is the largest show in the Southwest, largest custom build show in the Southwest. And so they told me, this is a huge launch. This is a big deal. So we're handing this off to you. And I was like, all right, here's my plate. And it's just overfilling now, but that's fine. We'll figure it out. Yeah. But it was crazy to kind of see that side, and I already had some relationships already developed just from my racing. And so it was cool to just kind of reach out to people that I was already somewhat familiar with or that I had interacted with before and just say, hey, we're doing this super awesome build. Do you want to help us out with it? And that was one part that was really big and really crucial for that, was getting those partners and even building partnerships in that process. So it was really cool, and it came out awesome. So I was really happy with it. I honestly almost cried when I went to the booth on Friday night and I saw it, because it was like, oh, it's just so crazy to see so much work that all of us put in 3 months and have it right in front of your face and have it look as good as it did. So we did the custom build, and we also did a PG&A build, which is parts, garments, and accessories. So it was all Polaris products. So we had a rolling chassis, a stock unit, and it was honestly just a really good show. Polaris hasn't had a presence at the sand show in a few years, and so it was really crucial that we made a big impact. And I feel like we really did that, and everybody was happy with it. So Jess is on here now, and she's telling me I definitely cried. And Jess is on Team RZR as well, because Evan, I know, was watching. So part of my team, but yeah.
Sometimes you gotta cry, right? I mean, I cried today. It wasn't for the same. No, I don't think I did cry today. I don't think so. But there's still a lot of the day left, so maybe I still will. So who else jumped out? So we had Jess.
Evan and Jess.
Jessica jump on. Evan, welcome. With Mike Morrison, welcome. Chad, welcome. That's pretty cool. I'm trying to think of when I was an intern. My very first project was like laying out an assembly line with the markings, and wasn't quite as cool as your project, but that we're not comparing here. We're not comparing.
Even besides the sand show, it wasn't even just stuff that had to do with what I was familiar with. Like, I had to do dealer kits and sell sheets, because we usually have dealer show every year, and it's where we bring in all of the dealers and just kind of inform them of the model year 19 units that we're going to start selling. And we didn't have that this year. And so my job with Evan was to create these dealer kits and sell sheets, which had all of the information about all the model year 19 vehicles, and we had to send them to all the dealers. And it was pretty cool to get the feedback that we had, because we're kind of nervous sending it out digitally, sending it out with handouts, how they would react, because we haven't really done that before. And we got really positive feedback on that. So that was really awesome. And even besides that, I actually got thrown something that was way out of my spectrum, which was with the General brand. And I had to compare kind of Jeep marketing strategies with what we want to do with General. And just seeing how those aligned in off-road brands and adventure machines was really cool. So I got thrown so many different projects from different aspects of the company, and it was really awesome to kind of take all that in and even just apply it back to racing. And with my sponsorships, seeing what they want and just kind of hearing, because I interacted with the race program a little bit too. And so just kind of seeing how they like, what things they like, what things they don't like, and just what they see was really cool. Because I know a lot of people are intimidated even just sending them stuff, because they're like, oh, it's Polaris, which it's a massive company, and a lot of people want to be a part of the RZR brand. And it's totally intimidating, but going there and just seeing, like, they're just like us, and they get it. They're normal people. So that was really cool. And like, they're as normal as throwing a football up and down the hallway for a break. Like, that's what my coaches, Evan and Jacob, did. They were just throwing footballs up and down the hallway and the aisleways. And it's just such a fun environment. And I don't think a lot of people see that, it being such a massive company. It's a corporation and it's huge, but everybody there is so passionate about what they do and just so into it, and they love it. And it's just a fun environment. I just felt like I blended right in, because it wasn't scary at all. And I was kind of expecting it to be, obviously working for a company that big, a multi-billion-dollar company. But it was cool to just kind of jump in and feel right at home.
One thing I want to hit on is something that I try to reinforce in this show is that the people who make decisions in a company about sponsoring you or marketing decisions, they're real people. They have emotions, like they get angry, they get happy, they play football periodically, like they're real people. And that's who you are marketing yourself to, is those real people. It's not, like I hear this a lot of times, people say, and I say it too, oh, well, I'm sending my resume to AMSOIL or to Polaris or to whoever. And the greater they, makes a decision. But really, it's probably 2 to 3 people that are going to collaborate on a decision, maybe a little bit more if the package is bigger. So if you're talking about a $100,000 program, you might have a few extra people in there. If you're talking about a smaller, maybe a $500 program, maybe it's one person that's going to make that decision. But somebody is doing it. Somebody has to put themselves in that position of the stress and the anxiety, and, they have to spend that money. So I think It's pretty cool that you get to see that and experience it.
Yeah, definitely. It was, and I told them from the start, I was super excited just because I love Polaris, and obviously I've been racing and my family being involved with them, to just kind of see, and having that marketing degree that I'm going for, to kind of see, oh, I've seen just the racer side, but now I can kind of dive in and see what they see from a business standpoint. Because it's so much, I've only looked at it as racing, but it's so much more than racing, that it was kind of cool to see, not kind of cool, it was really cool to see like what grounds Polaris as a company, even if that means RZR, Ranger, General, Sportsman, Indian, Slingshot, all of them. Just, it was really cool to kind of absorb and see everything going.
Definitely. The reason why I laughed a little bit was Kevin Kastner, who's with AMSOIL. He's one of the main people that I work with at AMSOIL. He's like, I'm a real person too. Like, very true. Very, very true.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because my dad actually said something and asked what the average age of the team is. And actually everybody on our team, I think, was under 32.
Right.
So and that was cool, because even the entire Polaris ORV team, everybody was really young. And so I know when I got there, I was kind of like, wow, just kind of look around and see, these people are barely older than I am. Like, I know Evan's like 27 and Jacob's 28, 26. We're all in that age group. And so it was cool to kind of see, I'm not talking to dads. Jacob is a dad, but they still have like the younger, and they get it. It's not just like, this is how we see this, and this is the younger generation. Everybody was like, they're just super young-minded, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
But it was just cool, because that's where all the ideas develop, and everybody comes from such different backgrounds too. So it just, that's one thing too, is a lot of the teams at Polaris rotate. And so people will move around positions so they get that extra experience. So I think that's another reason why they're so successful, is because they have a bunch of different people that come from different areas of the company and just provide their knowledge and then move on, and then they come back and just all that. So it was really cool to see that as well.
Yeah, that is one thing that I've actually, I don't know if it's studied is the right word, but I've looked at the Polaris program, how they have the rotational program. What is it, 6 months or 4 months in a roll, and then you can hit 4 or 5 rolls in a short period of time. So 2 or 3 years, you can hit a number of rolls and find out what you really want to do for a long-term career. I think it's pretty cool, and it's fairly unique. So I don't know. I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, they have an SMLDP program, or it's like a development program, a DP program, and that's how it is. You stay in one position for 6 to 8 months, and then you rotate to another position for 6 to 8 months. And that's usually people that were interns and then come back in, and they're interns. They come back in and they just start rotating, and then they kind of see what they like the best, and eventually they stay there or they keep moving on. So that I think is what really helps them as a company, is having that rotation.
Right. Well, I have one question. Actually, it's coming from Steve. He was asking about the hashtag Polaris RZR, There's been some gifts that come out. Actually, I think Kevin Spangler won one. So that was just a quick question we had. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, it's actually funny. I was going to mention that about everybody's kind of like, oh, Polaris RZR liked my photo, and it's really cool when that happens. But it was funny because I sat right next to the social media team. And so she'd be going through her phone and she'd like one of my pictures and look over at me and be like, because it'd just be like, Polaris RZR liked your photo. And it was just funny because I think people think that the CEO is liking their photo when Polaris RZR likes it. And so it was just funny to be like, oh, you're the one that's behind all of what RZR posts on everything. So it was kind of cool and kind of funny. But yeah, I know they did that giveaway, and actually an intern also helped with that giveaway. That was one of her projects. And they just kind of, it's honestly pretty weird how they do that. But they looked and they've seen who's bought RZRs and when, and how many they've bought, and what they've posted. And they just kind of found and selected random people, and were like, if they had their information from them buying a unit, they would just totally surprise them and send them that surprise and delight is what they called it. And some of them, they just had to message and say, hey, we want to send you something for being so loyal. What's your address? But people had no idea what they were getting. And so that was like the Polaris sent it hashtag. And that was something that was really cool because we could interact with the consumers and not just be looked at as a corporation, and just kind of say, hey, we're here, we see you, because people, I think, can see them getting forgotten with how many RZRs there are in the world. And so to just do that and have people get acknowledged, we got so much awesome feedback from it. It was actually pretty funny because somebody actually commented, well, Can-Am doesn't do that. And we're like, yeah, they don't. And I'm a little biased, obviously, but it was just funny because it was just cool to see Polaris kind of step in and do something like that, because a lot of corporations really don't. And I know our number one priority is our consumers, because that's what makes us the company we are. And that was one of the biggest things I learned. And I know they said I had really good insight with that because I obviously own RZRs and my family owns RZRs and racing and everything. And so consumers are the number one priority, and making them happy is our number one priority. And that was just kind of cool to get into my head when I first got there, because I was like, wow, they are. That's what makes our business what it is. And so just to do that and just send a little love was what we wanted to do. And I think we're going to keep doing it from what I hear. So we'll see.
That's awesome. Looks like, so Chad Schumacher said, us old guys don't stand a chance.
That's not true. I will say there's older people on the ORV team, but it's still a somewhat young environment.
So I wouldn't even crest the top because I'm only 31 3/4. So I'm not yet 32. So I still wouldn't even be the oldest person in that department.
Nope. You'd be right in there. You'd fit right in.
Oh, looks like Seth Quintero joined. Jason Stapleton. Looks like a lot of people like that hashtag Polaris RZR program. Look, Steve's trying to win it right now. Yeah, just drop hashtag Polaris RZR right now. Well, one thing I wanted to ask you though is now that you've worked there, you've been in the marketing department, you sit next to the social media person. What's something that you might do differently now that you know what you know? Like as a racer, what's something you might change in your program?
I think, it's a good question. Honestly, I know a lot of things that they notice. Like, yes, they notice social media, but they also see outside of that. And I think a lot of people think that they see solely social media, but that's not really how it is. And just having that interaction, when you see them, you go up and say hi to them, or you go introduce yourself, or just anything, and just making sure that we're branded right. Because now, even with working there and racing there, I want Evan, I see everything, which he does. It's funny because even if they don't follow you, they will still see everything you do.
Yeah.
Good, bad, anything. And so just kind of keeping that in the back of your mind and just knowing this is a brand, it's a huge brand, and when you wear this, you need to wear it well and proud, because it's going to be noticed if it's not. And so I think even just getting my stuff to them sponsorship proposal wise somewhat early, so it's not the last minute, or certain tags or certain posts, sending them pictures, stuff of that nature. And to me, the biggest thing is just being yourself and being true to yourself, because I know we start performing well as a racer. We start performing well. We start doing really well. You kind of get into it, and just kind of staying true to yourself to me is the biggest thing, because the three things that Polaris wants in people that they sponsor is performance is number one. So obviously performing as well, we want to be winning. We want to be number one. Social media is another big one, is just being on your social media and being active in the community. That's one of the other big things. But to me, the third and one of the most important is fitting well with the brand. And so just how the brand is, it's laid back, but we're passionate and we love what we do. And we want to, like, when we see this, we're like, heck yeah, Razor, Team Razor, we're a Razor family. Just stuff like that are things that they look for. And I know that those top three things, I was like, all right, going into next year. And it actually kind of put me in a weird position working there, but then also racing, because I was like, well, I walked up to my friend, and now it's actually the guy that makes the racing decisions, Matt Silvernagle. And I was like, so when should I send you? I walked over to his desk and I was like, so when should I send you my proposal? And so that was kind of like a weird part of it, because I knew the racing side, but it was also really beneficial because we worked on some stuff for future race programs, because it's a little off right now. And so to just help and have that insight from that different perspective, I know they appreciated, and I was obviously super happy to help. And Craig was the CMO, and now he's moved on to being the president of TAP. And so he was really their only connection with the racing community. And so when I came in, I know they said, you know what people see, and the racing side. So we really want to know what you think about this, this, and this. And I was like, well, all right. And kind of intimidating, but also it was really eye-opening to me, and I think to them, to just kind of see, oh, like, we didn't even know that was happening, or we didn't even know, because we don't see it. They just see what's on social media, but I know they're going to try and get more active with racing and just more active with consumers. So we're definitely up there, but I know we're just going to keep climbing to be the best, because we are the best. So
that's awesome. Yeah, just a quick reminder for folks, we still got time, so if you drop a question here, we'll try to answer it. I thought one of my favorite comments here was from Chad again. He said, things to do differently. Message coworker who is in charge of having Polaris like your post. That is perfect. That is definitely something to change. You're like, hey, can you just boop that? Yeah, I got you. I like it.
But yeah, that was actually really funny, because we started doing some projects, and they would bring up stuff from RJ's Visions video. And it was actually one of the first weeks I was there, and I was like, looking over at the computer, and I was like, oh, that's my cousin. And they're like, what? I was like, yeah, that's RJ Anderson. That's my cousin. And they were like, no way. And so, like, from then on out, they were like, oh, is this picture cool? Like, should we do this? And I was like, heck yeah, do that. And so it was just kind of cool and they would actually ask me, who's this person? Like, what does this person do? And even if I didn't know them, they were like, oh, we see their stuff all the time. And so it was kind of cool that, like, the hashtags work. That's what I want people to know, too. Your social media hashtags, like Polaris Razor or Razor Life, they look at that stuff, and they notice it, and they see it, because it was funny. They were going through the hashtags one day, and they were going through, and they found a picture of me and Caden Danbury.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, hey, look who it is. And Caden and Sarah actually came to the office, and they came and visited me when I was in Minnesota. So they got to kind of see that side of it. And it was so cool, because a lot of people are like, oh, hashtags are annoying. Hashtags are this. And I was one of those people, and I'm like, no, do it. They actually work. Right. They notice it.
Huh. That's actually really true. That's reassuring.
Social. What's more important, race results or the social media aspect? Because it seems like social media matters more these days. So I know it seems like that, and social media is huge, but there's also a lot of racers that we actually heavily support that aren't big on social media. So to me, the most important is your race results. And social media, or actually to me, social media comes third, because performance and being true to the brand and fitting in well with the brand are right there. I think fitting in more with the brand is a little higher than performance, but I know they heavily stress performance. And they heavily stress that you fit in, because you could be honestly the best racer there is, but then go out there and throw a temper tantrum. And I know we talked about this before on my last podcast, but you could be the best racer there is and then go out there and throw a temper tantrum. If you do one race that was bad and they see that, and it's like, well, that's not somebody we want to support. You know, you're winning and you're doing really well, but if you have a bad attitude about it, that's not. And that's one thing, is to really watch what you say when you're talking to people, because people, they notice. Even if they notice when you're talking to a RZR person, when you're talking to another person. At the end of the day, word still gets around to everybody. And I know that for the race community, it's everybody talks. So you just have to be really careful about the things you say and when you say them, because it'll get heard, and sometimes it'll get heard by the right person. And then it's like, well, and it may be one little thing, but it's still something they remember if it's negative, especially. And so that's one thing I know, is to the temper tantrums and just kind of what you say is what's huge. Because even if you don't say it directly to somebody, it eventually gets around. That's how our community works. And so I know that's one thing. But yeah, I would say definitely fitting well with the brand and performance is number one, and social media is just an extra.
You forgot the actual number one. I know you don't want to say it in front of everybody, but that's fine. I'll share it. The actual number one is how many times you are a guest on the Sponsored Rider Club podcast, then fit, then racing and social media. So that's really the top one. And it just is what it is.
I know Sponsored Rider Club is the number one, but
that's it. And, you know, we don't like to tell everybody that. You know, we're trying to keep it to ourselves right now, but I think it's time for the rest of the world to hear that is the most important thing that Polaris cares about.
Yeah. How do you think they consider pics/post tagged with the competition machines too? I guess I'm trying to think what they mean. Like, if you post a picture with Polaris and then you have like a Can-Am in the picture, what they think? Because I know
that might be what he's asking. Yeah, that's exactly what he's asking.
Okay, so I know, honestly, competition is what makes our sport grow, and it's what we need in the side-by-side community. And so I know we appreciate the competition, and trust me, everybody at Polaris is very competitive. So let's say when Can-Am comes out with something or Yamaha comes out with something, we're like, well, we can do better. And so it drives us to be better, and it pushes us to be better. So the competition is definitely something that we want, and that's really important, because that's what's making our community grow and making the industry grow, is having that competition. Like, I know there's word that Honda's going to come out with something, and so it's like, Polaris is like, all right, let's see what it is, and just getting ready. But competition is definitely, it's really good, and I know it's the same thing with racing. If you have no competition, then what does it mean to win a championship? Nothing if there's no competition. So it's the same thing with Polaris. What are we if we don't have competition? You know, we're number one market share. We're right up there. And Can-Am's been creeping up recently, but we're still going to strive to be the number one market share and still be the number one off-road vehicle. And so that's what we want. We want to be pushed for that, because nobody likes an easy win, in my opinion. I don't like easy wins. I want to be able to fight for it. So that's my opinion on that.
Hey, don't take away my one win, though. I have my racing career was one race. It was a time trial. Yes, there was only one other person there. And yes, I took first place. They took second. It's a win. I retired shortly after that. But it was a Polaris RZR, though. It was a Polaris RZR.
There you go.
Podium. One and only race, podium. Well, hey, you know what? We are pretty much at the time right now. If people are still listening, they want to leave questions, go ahead and just pop them in there. We might be able to go back through and answer them later. But we're going to kind of close things out. Shelby, is there anything else that you want to kind of leave the audience with today?
I would say pretty much in racing and anything, just know Polaris is, they're normal people. They're not scary. I've met the CEO, I've met the president, the vice president of ORV. They're normal people, and they may be intimidating because they have authority, but just know when you reach out for sponsorships, or you reach out even just seeing somebody in a RZR shirt, if you're going to Camp RZR or at events, just know they're normal people. They love talking to you, and they love hearing what you have to say about the brand, about anything. And so just knowing they're normal people, and then same thing with racing. When you approach that, just know, okay, it's intimidating, it's scary, but just know that they're just normal people. So just kind of don't be scared. I know it's intimidating, but they're normal people. And just be yourself, be true to yourself. Because honestly, social media, they want impressions. They want, obviously, the name to be out there, but you being yourself is what Polaris wants. They don't care what you say on social media at the end of the day. They care about who you are as a person, and that's why they support the people they support. It's because of who they are as people, not just because of what they post on social media.
Perfect. All right, we're closing things out. You all have fun and ride safe.